this word, but misbehavior and misconduct by members attending the sessions. What if such a scenario occurs and some members clash with each other? How are you going to deal with it as an, or well, I hope it doesn't happen really, but how will you as organizers deal with the situation?
Now, beside the chairperson, Mr. Khalifa Bahrani, around 15 moderators have been already trained in the previous days, and they are ready to moderate and to manage the sessions. Their task will be mainly an administrative role in terms of managing the time and ensuring that there is a fair chance for everybody to express their views in the sessions. And there will be a given, maybe a sort of an agreed charter before the dialogue starts between the participants on how to go about entering the sessions and how you can use your right of voicing your concern or sharing and discussing the issues. I'm optimistic. I don't think we are going to face the situation that you try to portray in the question. I think all of them, they are matured and they are intellectual, they are smart people. They might have different views, and this is absolutely normal in any given society. You might have different perspectives and different viewpoints on different things. But at the end of the day, what unites us is Bahrain.
His Majesty the King, in a speech, in an address to the nation, and a speech he gave at the cabinet on the 29th of June, His Majesty said that basically shed light on holding accountability towards anyone that has been involved in any violation of human rights. This is an amazing statement, and how do you feel this statement paves the way for a national dialogue that will start on the 1st of July? Is it a positive contributor towards sitting on a table and discussing our problems?
With no doubt. It is a positive contributor. It is paving the way, and I think it is also securing the right environment for the national dialogue. It is signaling a clear message that the leadership of this country is serious about moving forward, about learning from what happened by the people of Bahrain, and how we can move together as a one nation and focus on the future. We came a long way in Bahrain in reforming many aspects and in all the walks of life in Bahrain a decade ago. When His Majesty the King received the throne, we started the reform agenda in Bahrain, the reform program. Some people, they feel that we moved too fast. Some other people, they feel that we moved too slow. But the reality, in the previous weeks, we've been moving very slow. And this is not helping Bahrain by any means. We have to move forward. We have to address the real issues that we have. And we have to bridge the gaps between the different point of views that the people or the parties that they are sharing. We had a successful experience in Bahrain when the sessions of the National Action Charter were organized 10 years ago. The outcome of those sessions were very much important to Bahrain because they helped in defining the way forward for Bahrain, and we managed in 10 years. Today we are proud of all the constitutional institutions that we have in Bahrain. We are proud of the movement of democracy to have in Bahrain. But the question, are we complacent? Are we happy on what we have achieved so far? I'm sure everybody will say no. We are aiming to achieve more and better for Bahrain, and this is the fact of life. We have to continue embracing the development and the reform, and I think and I feel we'll never reach an ideal status, but we are aiming to reach the ideal status by the continuous movement of development and reform.
Do you think that the national dialogue, Mr. Isa, moving on in parallel lines with the fact-finding mission, is a move in the perfect direction, and does it reflect how we're trying to stand on our feet again?
I think it will complement the national dialogue, because what we are saying, let us isolate all the unfortunate incidents that happened in Bahrain. We have a neutral commission or a team or committee that's been formed to address those issues and to determine where mistakes have happened and how we can avoid them in the future. So we can focus now on the national dialogue on what are the issues that we need to discuss and agree between all the various components of the Bahraini society in order to move forward. And maybe during the sessions of the national dialogue we can write a new chapter for Bahrain and for Bahrain future.
If you remove the hat of the spokesperson for the elections and you go into in-depth into a few words that His Majesty said, when His Majesty said we have been hurt and we are trying to heal our injuries, remove the hat of the spokesperson and tell me, how do you personally feel about those two statements?
To be honest, we were all of us devastated in the previous in the recent weeks in Bahrain. Every single drop of any Bahraini blood or feeling or whatsoever, it is important for us. We had been living here in Bahrain. We have been living in coexistence and coherence manner. We are not used to have any sort of sectarian violence or sectarian divide in Bahrain. We have to admit that the national fabric might be affected or got affected in the previous period, but it is now time to heal the wound and to move forward as one nation, as one country. And I think if you talk out of your true Bahraini spirit, that's what will be the reality. Everybody inside his heart want to move forward and forget about what happened, but again, yet we have to be serious by addressing what happened and learning lessons from those unfortunate incidents.
Of course. I'd like to remind our viewers that my guest on this episode of Bahrain Today is the official spokesperson for the National Dialogue, Mr. Isa Abdulrahman. Mr. Isa, now back to wearing the hat of the official spokesperson again. And what do you expect the government is expecting, the official bodies are expecting from this dialogue?
I can't really speak on behalf of the government. I can't speak on behalf of the organizers. But there is already a clear signal coming from the government to support the dialogue. I think started by the announcement which was made by His Royal Highness Prince Khalifa bin Salman, the Prime Minister, after the appointment of the chairperson, Mr. Khalifa al-Dhahrani. He directed all the government entities to support the dialogue by any means. Besides that, the government will take part in the sessions of the dialogue as a participating members. They will not be given a higher priority in terms of voicing their concern or sharing their ideas, but they will take part in the sessions as well to clarify any issues that the participants need to clarify with the government. So it will be a comprehensive, well-rounded discussion between all the parties, including the government as well, in order to agree on the consensus. And I think the consensus by itself as a mechanism does give a clear message as well, that there is a seriousness in terms of tackling the dialogue, and a fairness is an embedded element of the dialogue as well.
The sessions are going to be heated sessions.
It will be, but I think if you consider the principle or the mechanism of the consensus, that will help and diffuse many of the issues, because the participants need to reach a common ground. There will be no voting. There is no issue around unanimity or super majority or majority of votes. We are moving towards consensus. So I have maybe to express my view, you have to express your view, but at the end of the day we have to find a common ground on how we move forward. And that by itself,
please.
And that by itself will give assurance that whatever decision will be agreed upon in the dialogue, everybody will go a step out of that room and will support that decision, because it was reached through the consensus.
What happens later, after the decisions are approved?
His Majesty the King's speech was clear when he appointed the chairperson, and he paved the way for the process of the national dialogue. After the sessions, all the decisions that was based on consensus, as a full consensus or consensus even with observations, will be communicated and given to His Majesty the King. After that, His Majesty the King, as he stated, will issue the royal orders for all the constitutional institutions to take the right measures in implementing those decisions.
Do you have an idea, Mr. Raisa, what could be some of the outcomes? You know, I don't know how the discussions will be, but will participants sit and discuss means of enhancing the standard of people's living, pay rises? Are there some issues that you expect will come under
it is a tough
spotlight?
question, and you are asking me to read the future, which is not a
Give me a
talent
few
that I
hints.
have. But to be honest, I think it will revolve around the four main themes of the national dialogue. I mean, I'm sure there will be some consensus reached around the political issues in terms of the reforms and what sort of changes we need in the political maybe program, laws and regulations that we have in the country. Beside that, it could be issues around the social aspect, because we have a dedicated session from the social issues, the rights, the economical element as well will be a major part of the dialogue as well. It is really difficult, but I think whatever will be the outcome, it will be a collective view based on consensus between all the participating parties, and that will by itself will be a success for Bahrain.
Is the percentage of the male participants more than the female? Do you have an idea? I know you cannot count based on male and gender.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
to be honest, I didn't do the math, but I can tell you, at least from the organizers' perspectives, we have more females than male in terms of who are really engaged now day and night in the preparation for the dialogue. But in terms of the participants, it was difficult for us even to define what would we prefer, because the invitations were sent out to the institutions and the entities, and they have nominated their members. So it is really in their hands, and they have to decide on whom should represent them, regardless of the gender.
But, well, I think this is the right way, because if you're not attempting to empower women through the dialogue, you're attempting to empower a whole nation.
Equal opportunity for all.
Yes. Well, I sense that you are optimistic again, and I hope that the dialogue will be a success. When will the dialogue finish exactly? How many sessions a day? The director is telling me we'll take a short break and we'll come back. And when we come back, I want to speak about how the residents of Bahrain can be involved. They have a very strong voice in the country, and we need to shed light on that. We'll come back just after a short break. Thank you. Back to Mr. Abdulrahman.